Beautiful young lady hit me up on Instagram and asked me to react to some more Cure. And the Cure, I'm discovering, has like a really large fan base in terms of people that like their music. And one of the words that I saw in the comments, a word that's consistently describes their music, was the word melancholy. Now, you have to forgive me as I barely have a high school education. So I wanted to know more about this word as I don't play an instrument and have never used the word prior. Melancholy music. Melancholy music that feels sad, reflective, or emotionally heavy. Music that expresses deep sadness, gentle sorrow, or pensive, reflective, emotional mood. It's not dramatic sadness, it's quiet, lingering, and emotional heaviness, often calm, slow, soft, and introspective. Common traits include slow tempo, soft vocals or minimal vocals, which I definitely notice in The Cure, emotional or nostalgic melodies, lyrics about loss, longing, memories, or loneliness. Who hasn't felt that, right? I really like the nostalgic part too. You know, how can something be nostalgic and you've never really been there? Like I've never, it doesn't bring back memories, but the music feels nostalgic. Like The Cure feels like a past time, even though the '80s is not not my developmental years. I'm more of a '90s, early 2000s MTV kid. Before I started getting into music and things of that nature. So it says, but think hurt but calm, sad but reflective, peaceful, sorrow. All right. And the live performance that I'm checking out today is The Cure, and the song is called Pictures of You. All right. And I tend to gravitate toward the music. So shout out to Instagram. You guys, I do read them. When I get a time, I check my Instagram maybe once or twice a week or so. And yeah, I guess I've held you guys for too long here. Don't forget, if you guys like this type of content, do me a big favor and like the video. If you want to stay up to date whenever I post, subscribe and hit that notification bell. The engagement, the comments, the likes tells me that you want me to put out more content like this, and I truly appreciate it. 90% of the music you see on this channel, I don't get paid for, all right? And some of these videos take me hours to complete. So consider supporting the show by buying the coffee in the link below, donating on Venmo or Cash App, or hitting me up on Patreon, where you can catch content that doesn't make YouTube. Join the Discord, and I respond to everyone on Discord. So especially if you're in the higher tier, you can pretty much DM me at any time, and I definitely always get back to you then. So trying to get my Discord popping. All right. But if you don't have the funds, just liking the video, subscribing, and let me know what my next journey musically should be down below. And yeah, we'll get right into this. All right. Let's go. Oh my God, they sound good live. I reacted to I'll never forget it. I reacted to the studio version of this, and they sound amazing live. Um, yeah, let's see if it works. All right, my new system, my sound effects never work, so I have to figure that part out. But yeah, I'm feeling it. All right, just as beautiful. Of course, it's not perfected like in the studio, but for live, oh man, because I've only heard the song about 3 times, and I remember how it made me feel. I remember the intro, the dramatic intro without the lyrics, and just a beautiful, beautiful sound. We're gonna run it back here. theme in the middle, that dun 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 dun. That's like that. I call that the theme of the song. It's like a beautiful melody the song sings in the middle of these chords, or I don't know music talk, so but it's just I could just listen to that part all day. All right, all day, just amazing. All right, does this make me a pussy? Now, I have to pause it periodically, and The Cure is a band that's really hard to pause because typically when I'm consuming music, especially emotional music, I'm in the dark room by myself. You know what I mean? I'm not on camera revealing my emotions to the world. And that's why it's so hard for me to just pump out a lot of musical content, because listening to music, a lot of times you have to be in the right headspace, in the mood to hear it. Not you're not always in the mood to hear it. I could just phone it in, but I've always had a special relationship with music in terms of loving music that I can relate to, or that gives me a different perspective of things. And The Cure is just amazing. I've never been to a concert before in my life, but I could definitely see myself enjoying this time. The music that they create just fills the room. It feels the energy of the room, and it's just beautiful. Like I'm experiencing chills through a large percentage of this performance the entire time. The entire time. That's how amazing they are. So this is definitely a sound that I gravitate towards. So yeah, it's they're amazing live. Absolutely amazing. Great request on Instagram. I've been looking so long at my pictures of you that I almost believe that they're real. I've been living so long with my pictures of you that I almost believe that the pictures are all I can feel. Just amazing. Now, when I was younger, I probably would have took one look at these guys and be like, I'm not listening to that. All right, I'm a pop in my Ja Rule's first CD, DMX, R. Kelly, Genuine, Tyrese, hip hop and R&B, Tupac, Biggie. The list goes on. Beanie Siegel. Uh, but every once in a while, a little bit of Matchbox 20, a little bit of what's some stuff that would catch my attention. Death Cab for a Cutie. Like every once in a while, something would catch my attention. But you guys know my pocket was hip hop and R&B, and things of that nature. But these guys are incredible. So I'm glad that I personally came around with the state of music today. In my opinion, I can go back and look at some of this old stuff and just discover what many of you guys have grown up listening to your entire life. So this has kind of shaped your personality and your perspective of the world. I think music can do that for people, and it's just it's interesting. Guitar sounds so beautiful. And also, I can't say that I was completely superficial when it came to music and the image of the band, because I did like Marson's "Dope Shows," the only song that I knew from him. So there were other people that you just can't deny that they're a star, that there's a light within them, and they're special. They're not your average garage band. All right. He also sounds incredible live. The singer. I got to pull up the names here. I'm bad with names, you guys know that, but I'll do that later. I think I figured out the nostalgia of why it feels that, even though it's not my time. You know what this song reminds me of? It reminds me of there was this girl in high school I had a crush on named Amanda, okay, which I used to just stare at her when she wasn't looking. And then but in my mind I'd be playing some of my favorite music, like, I would live within my head. I think Ben Stiller had a movie where where he lived inside of his head and imagined a lot of things, but they didn't really happen. He was a dreamer in that movie, and I was kind of like that in high school. I just lived within my head, and kind of kept to myself. I was known for being really, really quiet. I hung with the cool kids, but I wasn't one of them. They just wanted me to sit at their table because I dress nice. But I couldn't relate to a lot of the things that they were into for the most part. But yeah, this reminds me of that when you're staring at your crush, whoever that may be, and you're like daydreaming. For those of you who were daydreaming in high school, which I did, so I guess that's the nostalgia that that it means for me. You know, if I'm being transparent with you guys and sharing some personal information to a bunch of strangers.
Open my eyes, but I never see anything. If only I thought of the right word, I could have held on to your heart. If only I thought of the right word, I wouldn't be breaking apart all my pictures of you.
Love the drop. It's amazing.
So long, these pictures of you, I always hold on to your hand.
And now I kind of like his image with the makeup and the lipstick and the messy hair. It's sort of like a statement, in the way I interpret it is, he doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks at all, and it's also a representation of the melancholy definition that I read. It's that sadness, that loneliness. It kind of represents the look. The drummers kind of fly here with the glasses and the hair and all that, but I like the get up. It's very unique.
I wouldn't be breaking apart all my pictures of you.
Sort of like a rebel against society in terms of like not being the norm.
I wouldn't be breaking apart all my pictures of you.
Synthesizers in this just breathtaking.
So long, these pictures of you, I always hold on to your hand. Been so long for the words to be true, always just breaking apart like pictures of you.
You can see the joy in the crowd with their hands up, and they're just all like in the moment and just relishing in it, which I think concerts are all about. Sometimes you see the lackluster performances from these artists in modern day times, not all, but a lot, and they just kind of reel it in. They don't move the stage, but these guys are so good that they don't have to do a lot of moving and dancing and sweating. They're that talent. They're talented enough where the music speaks for itself. The music, the light show, is enough. Some people. That's the beauty of music, that you have different ranges of how people entertain the crowd. But I think that speaks to their talent. When it's at this level, you don't have to do much. Okay, you don't have to get up. You don't have to break your guitar. Okay, you don't have to jump in the crowd. You don't have to. You don't need backup dancers. It's just a vibe. Goodness gracious.
There is nothing in the world that I ever wanted more than to feel you deep in my heart.
You can feel it when he sings.
There was nothing in the world
10 out of 10. And dare I say, the live performance was just as magical as the studio version. I got to get used to which camera. I got a whole new setup here. Some of it works. Excuse me. Some of it works, and then sometimes it doesn't. I've switched over to Windows. For instance, like this reaction you guys just saw. Imagine me reacting to this, giving my opinion, and I find out that the audio's messed up, or it didn't record, and I got to try to. I can't recreate a moment, unless that happens all the time. You know what I mean? There's been many times where I've reacted to stuff and something goes wrong, but I don't know where I went on that tangent, but that happens, and it's frustrating. Hopefully this one comes out okay. But yeah, just as magical. I'm not going to compare as far as the quality, but in my ears, it's the same quality. I mean, if you can recreate the moment you created in the studio, and give that magic live, it's special. Not everyone can do it, and they did it. Just if I was in the car, I can listen to the studio version of that, and I can listen to that without the video, because they're both amazing. His voice is amazing. The band, everything's incredible about the Cure, and yeah, I'm not a jealous person, but you guys that grew up listening to the Cure, you guys were blessed that were exposed to that, because in my opinion, it's I'm not gonna go on that tangent, but but I can see why you guys love the Cure. All right, but hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to the person that sent in the request on Instagram for this message. Most of the time, people hit me up. It's from either Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, or Venmo. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. How do you feel about the Cure? Has their music stood the test of time for you? And did their music ever step in a time in your life when you needed them? I had a lot of music like that in my playlist. But this, if I had saw this and heard it, I probably and understood it at the time, definitely would have been something that would have been on repeat, and what I like to call the soundtrack of my life. Music that I always play every year. It never goes away, even when new music comes out. The Cure is one of those bands, in my opinion. But that's enough of me rambling. Hope you guys liked it.